Welcome to this roundtable talk about the future of AI by Deutsche Telekom IT Solutions. We will spend a fun and I believe potentially informative hour together. If you have any questions during the discussion, please do raise them on whatever platform you're watching us. My name is Spirit Civin and I'm a marketeer. I work at Deutsche Telekom IT Solutions Hungary. And we have an amazing lineup today, and I do believe that we're going to have a fun discussion. I first thought that I would introduce everybody who participates in the talk and who are actually going to bring the knowledge to this table. But then I decided not to, and I will ask them to introduce themselves. And when you guys introduce yourselves, please do share one of your exciting experiences with AI. In my experience as a marketeer, what I found is that what can happen to you whenever you engage with an AI, it can be silly. I had ChatGPT trying to convince me that I actually passed away in 2011, and I couldn't convince it otherwise. Sometimes you can feel replaced. I once, not too long ago, 2 months ago, I received an email from a friend of mine with a ChatGPT paragraphs, with a few ChatGPT paragraphs where the prompt was, what would a good marketing plan look like? And he said, how much do you normally charge for a marketing plan? ChatGPT did this for free to us or for us. So sometimes you feel replaced. And the other day, I was actually looking to make an image of some horses standing in an underground garage next to some cars, trying to show how surreal some 19th century transport solution can be in a 21st century environment. And when I needed that image, I went to Dolly and I had that image generated in a few seconds. So I had silly experiences, I had threatening experiences, and I had some very helpful experiences with AI. So what do you guys do and how do you feel about AI and what sort of experiences have you had? Let's start with Adam.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you very much for the opportunity to being here. So I'm Adam Korboy, as you might see also from my page. I'm a software engineer since my age of 12. Okay, not an engineer, then I was a developer only at the beginning, but I'm working with software in all my life. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so it means that I'm making different kind of companies. Majority of them are in software business, and all of these companies are producing something for the world, which is also accessible worldwide and not only in Hungary where I'm located. And regarding the experience with the AI, so let me tell you some silly experience that I got for the AI. So in one of my companies, I do lots of pitches several times, sometimes many times in a day. And I thought I do it well. And once I asked the ChatGPT actually to introduce myself this company through the information that is existent on the internet. And it made such a pitch for me that I could never reproduce since then. So it was much better than I ever did before. So I have to say that that I already started to learn and use the AI in several ways. So I hope that I will be able to add something also for the discussion that we will have today about AI and the experiences. But this was my first and very positive experience, I have to say, with that. So that's about me. Thank you very much.
I believe I'm next. I'm Arthur Caletti. I'm a cybersecurity futurist. More about that later. And also the founder of ITBN ConfExpo, which is one of the biggest cybersecurity events in the CE region. As for my experience with AI, I've been playing around with AI for years, either narrow AI or different AI models. But basically what stunned me to the core recently was the development of 11 Labs, a voice cloning application. Because I'm working a lot with my voice and also with my appearance, and I'm also involved in authenticity projects and provenance protecting and privacy aware applications. So I was utterly surprised how well AI can clone someone's voice. And the biggest surprise came a few months later when I started to learn how to speak. Actually, I could speak Hindi, Polish, German, French, actually 10 languages in my voice. It just came as an update. And I've always been thinking about, learning languages like that. And you wake up in the morning and you speak, boom, another 20 languages. And I think it's quite close. So we're getting really close to that. Maybe later we can talk more about how we could use that in applications through API like AutoGPT and other applications. But that was probably the most shocking experience for me, so much that I even demoed it on radio, national radio, and it was really interesting. I did a test with the people there, and they couldn't really pick my voice from certain test files or certain test go. So yeah, that's it. That's my experience with AI. Let me pass the word on to the next one.
To Bálint, I believe.
I am the next one. Hi everyone. My name is Bálint Kardos. I am working as a product designer and UX user experience designer at Deutsche Telekom IT Solutions. And with the colleagues, we are creating AI products and automation products. So this is the field where we are working. For example, products like voice recognition, image recognition, forecasting, chatbots, whatever. So there is plenty of different areas. And this is why it's very interesting, because I can work on different products. Actually, this is my background. I also, as a product designer, worked with different companies in different countries. So I really enjoy this. And I think AI is really a fascinating area for a product designer like me. So thank you for the invitation. And I'm really curious how we're going to discuss this topic today. And I pass the word to the next one.
Hi, everybody. Greetings to the audience. My name is Sándor Olti. I'm a co-founder and chief business officer of Intuitech, which is a digitalization studio. So what we do is we help companies and public entities exploit the potential of technology, whether to increase their sales or increase the satisfaction of their customers, or simply increase their efficiency. So now we're more than 100 people, and what we do is basically end-to-end digitalization from strategy all the way to software development. So I think I can add some value when it comes to both the business and the technical side of this conversation today. A cool experience with AI, I'd say I think roughly 2 years back, there was a company called Gong, which is doing the analysis of conversations, and it's supposedly helping people do sales a lot better. And so as Adam was mentioning, he's doing a lot of sales calls. I myself am doing a lot of sales calls. And what Gong is doing is that it records the conversation, and after a certain sales call, it tells you that potentially you're not listening to your customer long enough, so you need to ask more questions, or it tells you what are the types of words you should be using instead of other types of words. So it's really helpful, both when it comes to my sales performance, and also as we are growing now, we're more than 100 people already. When we're onboarding new people, I can get very practical when it comes to giving advice to the people I work with.
Szilárd.
And I'm done. Szilárd, you're next.
yeah, I was waiting on Peter if he has some comments on that. So first of all, thanks for the invitation, guys. My introduction is somewhere between Adam and Sándor, because I spent like more than 17 years in the IT, and of course, when I was a developer at 12, I wasn't sure if I'm a developer or just playing with the Turbo Pascal. But definitely, I went through the way from the engineering side to the management, to the account management. I spent like 6 years in the US as a sales and account management director, and I was working on big digital transformations, mostly for financial services. And I moved back to the EU, and I was working for Swiss companies again, then locally. So I think it's an exciting story for me, and more for the personal experience. So I wasn't sure if the connection had something or just on my side. So I would say with MP Solutions, we made a new division that was MPS Digital. It's getting close slowly to 100 as well. So I was a co-founder. I'm co-founder of the MPS Digital part. So that's the similar story to Sándor, and we are working on digital transformations again. And my personal story is I don't want to repeat some of that, but that happened to me as well with you guys. But my story was like, I think 2 years ago, we started like a Python engineering project where definitely we were looking for some machine learning expert. And I was like, I mean, the whole team was conducting interview for the guy, and we interviewed him, and he's like, guys, you don't see something strange in his CV? I mean, all the projects has so much description, and the description is a little bit repeating itself with very nicely formulated words, articulated in a nice way. I was like, guys, this is written in AI. It's written by AI. And I was like asking the guy that, hey, is it your project, this CV? And he was like shocked at, what are you talking about? And he said yes, finally. So he made it using a very early ChatGPT access, and he was trying to put inputs to really generate the project. But ChatGPT at that time was not this very, very nice and very, very clearly a super tool. So actually it was like 7 lines on all projects, and it was like really, really the same stuff, saying the same things, because he didn't get enough input from the guy. So the data was very, very slow. And very minor, and it was, I think it was one of the personal experience, but all the experience is connected to the business. I think for all of us, like we were working on some presentation, use ChatGPT, blah blah blah. So it's like, I think it's very hard to separate, because for personal reasons, I think people are playing with ChatGPT mostly. That's what I think we talked before the call with you guys before the conference. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much to all of you
Thanks.
for introducing yourselves. It was a lot of fun to listen. There was one thing that none of you actually mentioned, and that's something that you do hear about when you listen to podcasts or talk to people or read on the internet about AI, and that is AI being a threat. Do you think AI is an actual threat? Is it something that we should be worried about of being replaced or ending the world in some way? Is that a real threat? Is that something that we really should talk about or focus on?
I would say that if you think about the same question 150 years ago when the steam machines appeared, then I think it was the same kind of threat. So, oh my God, we've got something else. What will I do? What will be my job if there is a machine that produces everything instead of me? So from this point of view, the question is not that if we will have to do something in the future or not, because we will always try to do something, in my opinion. And obviously, if there are more tools to use, then let's use those tools. And actually, AI is a very great tool for using in several areas. But I am pretty sure that a plumber will not need an AI soon to make their work.
So sure of that. Don't be so sure.
Please?
Don't be so sure of that. I just read an interesting study that came from Microsoft engineers that had a chance to play with GPT-4 before it got restrained by OpenAI in ChatGPT, because probably you know in the audience that the GPT-4 you're getting through ChatGPT is far from what GPT-4 can do. So and in one of those tests, in an early tests before GPT-4 got restrained, this was exactly the job for the model. Someone described a leakage, some water dripping from the ceiling, and GPT-4 got the person through every single stage and step of how they can find a leak and how they can fix it. I understand it's not the manual part of it. I get it.
Yeah, I was speaking about the manual part. So I was speaking about the plumber itself. So obviously that's a great experience. I'm really happy that you mentioned, because in one of my companies we are doing such kind of building documentation where we would need this kind of support. So maybe if we will speak about later about how we would use or how we would utilize AI, then this is one example of using the AI in my profession. But I'm speaking about that the plumber itself as a person will be required for at least for a period of time yet to do that.
I think there's two ways of looking at it. So on a group level, as humanity, of course, there's going to be jobs. Like there's always something that is being replaced, and there's always new jobs that are to be done. On the individual level, so if I'm a copywriter today, or if I work in a call center today, I mean, the situation doesn't look that good. And of course, it's easy to say that you should go retrain yourself, but how do you do that? So I think that's an issue that we as humanity will need to solve. On the question of, are we going to get extinct? I mean, we can talk about it probably for the next 40 minutes. I think people are either on one side or the other. My opinion is that I'm sure we will figure out a way to avoid extinction, but this is different than the steam engine. So this is, I think it's a real threat to humanity this time.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm hoping that the engineers that are working on the topics are going to be smart enough so that we avoid it.
So I think, guys, I would separate 3 different threats. One threat is what you're saying, that losing jobs. That's always was a problem when new automation come to the market, and the same was with RPA and all this stuff what we've seen. I think the second type of threat is more like a soft threat, like for social type of things and humanity. By default, these things generate huge number of fake news. They can, make fake voices. They can make fake videos. They can make fake news. So for political and other reasons, or even for economical reasons, when some companies want to really, really screw up someone or another company, or make like the competition harder, they can start lying by not really they lie, but they say the AI is lying. So, what you can do, so you can feed these AI stuff with many crazy data where the outcome is a lie, but actually it's a very nicely articulated lie. So you don't know what is it. And I think the third type of threat, what I think the people will be smart, and like even Elon and other guys know that this is very, very dangerous, to let the AI write. So right now, AI reading data lakes, databases, sources, and generating their own data lake to enable them to generate some nice answers to you. But when they start writing into, I don't know, for the airplane stuff, and they start writing new prices into the database and they go crazy, actually that can be a problem. I'm not saying that someone will die from that or that type of things, but when they start writing, they can control. And I think if we just avoid that, and they just reading and helping us, it's like how Microsoft call it. It's like Copilot. It's like a Copilot for you. It helps you to write long, really, really meaningful content, and then you just really rewrite it for you. It's like you shouldn't really write it from scratch, because it's very similar what you write. See, there is no difference. There is no big difference for ChatGPT 4 when I'm tried, and that's very interesting.
Yeah, maybe this is why. Sorry, Peter. Maybe this is why we can divide the things or in two groups, like where we have danger if the result is not really good, and where we have no danger. And this is what we call in AI product design cost of error. So what's happening if there is something go wrong? So for example, what I usually used to say, the typical example, if there is a recommendation system like Spotify or some music recommendation, if I don't know, if 20% the recommendation of the music, you don't like it, it's not correct, it's not enough accurate, it's not a problem, nobody will die because of it. So probably you don't need to check it, you don't need to, let's say, you don't need to keep the human in the loop, so nobody has to check it if you get the wrong music. But if there is let's say a healthcare prediction, for example, if you have a healthcare problem and you would like to predict it, even the AI is, let's say, quite precise, and there is 80% you get a right information, someone has to check it. I mean, even for philosophical reason, I mean, it's good to know someone check it. Even the human makes mistakes as well. So sometimes we forget that. Okay, maybe it's even better than a human, but a human also makes mistakes. So no, there is no situation like none of the doctors makes any mistakes when they do some kind of health care checkings, for example.
I really like. Yes, go on, Adam.
For this. May I ask something from this?
Shoot.
So we speak about Spotify and other kinds of tools that use AI already. I'm asking about the artificial generative AI. So the AI that has thousands of ears and thousands of eyes and can remember everything, but it hears at least once in a life. So it's some kind of an intelligence that might be, I would say, a little bit above the humans. So I think the question would be about that. Can we keep the control? So that's the question. Because today we can control everything. So the humanity or the human intelligence is above everything. But if there is an intelligence that can learn that fast, that can get all these kinds of inputs, then what do you think? Can we control this, or how will we control this? Rather, this would be the question. How do you see that?
Yeah, let me jump in on that. I'm a cybersecurity guy, so I'm scared of everything. And losing control is basically the biggest fear. That's why most security people are control freaks, me included. And that's basically a big issue. And already, I have to say, you know, we are just here talking, right? So let me just say that privately, that we couldn't even control the conventional 2D internet and cyberspace at the moment. It's getting out of hand. No AI included, just the conventional issues that we have. In cybersecurity, we got typically 30 to 40 different categories. And all of these categories are trying to mitigate some kind of threat. And these threats are also connected. So as Szilárd mentioned, automation of threat generation is one of the biggest problems today, even without AI, just automating threat creation and making. What I'm trying to say here is that I'm sure that we will lose control. We might have a chance to restrict this sort of artificial general intelligence if we had the time, but we don't have it. The pace of development, the tempo, which will not slow down at all. Let me say that right now, because it will not slow down. There's no way we are slowing down. This is not the way humans live and develop things. So at the present pace of development and things happening, it will get out of control. And if you look at ChatGPT or any other application today, it's already somewhat out of control. That's why prompt engineering can work in the way social engineering works today. That's why you can trick AI into believing that it can answer a question that it shouldn't answer. That's why we cannot safeguard and you know, like I'm calling it some sort of wooden fence around some super intelligent robot. That's what we do with ChatGPT as well, and all the other tools. Now, I've heard Microsoft has come up with an intelligent way of controlling how the AI will not deter from, you know, like answering the question and just keeping on track, just to shorten down the time you can interact with it. It's such a lame way of solving things. So we are so much in our baby state of controlling AI, and it's developing so fast. Plus, let me add one additional last thing, that now that GPT-4 is really popular and can do a lot of things, and questions are raised. Probably you've listened to the Senate hearing of Sam Altman recently, just a day or 2 days ago, and it raises a lot of questions. And the CEO of OpenAI just said that, you know, they are not even training GPT-5, you know, so you can just relax, it's fine. But while he says that, Google announced that they are actually training Gemini, which is the GPT-5 competitor. So no one is slowing down. Why would they? And also we haven't really heard too much about what Facebook's going to do while they have the Llama. It's a really efficient language model that they are training. And what they said recently, that now they are focusing a little bit away from Meta, building the metaverse, and they're going to put every single AI solution that they have into every product that they have. So and that's quite a worthy opponent. So that's why I think that it will just simply it will just get out of control. That's I
think where I'm not convinced with this reasoning is, like, for example, you're obviously referring to this this open statement, which large or well-known scientists have signed, that they should limit research for 6 months, which is obviously like it's a weird thing to do. Like I don't understand the reason, but what I don't see is, I mean, how do you know how long you need to slow down for, right? I mean, how far are we from AGI? We have no idea. Is it 5 years away? Is it 10? Is it next year, next month? We don't know. So like I'm not that pessimistic when it comes to being able to control artificial intelligence the same way as, and I know it's a more complicated topic, but the same way as people got together and managed to stop human gene editing, I feel that humanity will be able to do the same for AI.
I think, I mean, Balint is the next, so I let him
very kindly. Okay. Just maybe I think we a little bit maybe sometimes forget that in the history of the human, there was always a new technology, and we was always afraid of that. So even like cars, for example, everybody was afraid of cars at the beginning, and of course it's a learning curve. when we a little bit reduce, for example, the number of the accidents. So of course, I recently just seen a few posters, which was, I don't know, 80 years old or 100 years old, where there was posters about how dangerous are cars, you know. And of course it's true, but I think nobody go out to the street like, oh, such a dangerous situation. Even it is a danger because accidents happen still now. But for now, it's getting a little bit lower and lower the number of accidents because we learn how to make it safety. Of course, it's not 100%, and I'm afraid of that. 100% safety is not possible in technology, in any other technology, if it's a car or if it's AI. But we are getting better and better in this field.
I think sorry, Sirat, please go on. Then it's going to be me.
I will be very, very short. So I'm a little bit more on Arthur's side, because just think about, guys, that like a year ago, like people were not seeing ChatGPT at all. They never met. And once they met ChatGPT, they were so shocked that it's so good. It's not the problem. It's like people get super close to technology, what they never seen. It's like a data lake. It's machine learning. It's a lot of things in it. But we were shocked as well. We were surprised how good is it when it's really get out to the market. So maybe Arthur, okay, he's years ago, continuously trying to find out the newest AI technologies. Myself, I always use for digital transformation, and maybe Sándor can come from this. We always found some automation pieces where we really used AI, we really used machine learning. The project really used machine learning. And this was, like, I think, very surprising for the IT as well, for the whole community, that's really, really good. And people got shocked. And that's why we see we're really behind. We don't know what is the next, what was not released yet, and it's not released yet. So we really need to, I think it's not a threat, it's not a problem, but we are so behind. Like Arthur mentioned to me, I mean, not to me, but to us, that he was reading 24/7 almost when he's not sleeping about this, and he can't catch up. I'm not saying myself doing the same, but it's impossible almost. Like, it's very, very fast. It's so many libraries, so many things.
Also, let me
add some.
Just one thing, because it seems like we all need to jump in now. So there's one thing, which is the lack of transparency, which wasn't an issue about half a year ago, but it's happening now. Now we don't know what's in the box anymore. Like in GPT-4, they're not telling us what they trained that thing on. Google is, mystifying things again, and also Facebook. So we are now entering an even darker area that we used to be when it comes to AI. I just wanted to add that because it's important. And even today, all the, these people are all crying out for like legislation and transparency and whatever, but they should be starting by doing that themselves. They are not doing it.
I don't think that sorry, I keep writing down what I want to say, but I'm just tired of that. So I'm jumping in now. I very strongly disagree with the last statement that you made. I don't think that anyone who is in the market currently and competing for delivering value to customers through AI should stop, because it's not in the genes, not in the nature of any company of stopping. I really like Sándor's example about the human genome. I don't think that it would be stopped by companies who can actually gain financially from developing human genome interaction, etc. And I don't think anyone should expect from companies to stop their AI developments when they want to make money. I think it needs to come from the outside. The other example I found was the nuclear energy. And I think that's similar in a sense, because we do use nuclear energy to generate electricity, and we do use that energy. However, the international community has been fairly successful. Now, let's not go into all sorts of theories on how many countries have nukes and how many do not. Let's just say that significantly less countries do than how many would like to, or how many could develop if it was free to all. So what I hear from all these discussions is that the solution is not going to come from those who actually participate in the competition. It needs to come from the outside. It needs to come from governments, it needs to come from the UN, it needs to come from someone who does not financially immediately benefits from the development of AI. That's what I hear from your discussions, guys.
Yeah, there is. Here we are the point, actually, sorry for interrupting, but here we are the point that as long as the government knows about it and as long as the government can control it, then obviously we can build up these regulations. That's how the traffic works, actually. This is why the cars are not killing us, because we have very good regulations how to drive. But if there are some hackers, developers who would say, okay, I have got enough money to set up my server farm, and also my friends, group of friends, etc. I use the internet, some kind of computers, just to be involved to this development, then you don't have this regulation. And this is my problem with this, actually, that it's again not the technology itself, but the human factor itself is the problem, that we will, or there will be, or there might be some people, I would say, who can build up some kind of AI that are not our friends in some kind of some point of view. Therefore, the regulation is very important, but I don't know how to implement this regulation that you speak about.
I think it's partly true.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
No worries. Go on,
just a short sentence. Yeah, it's so I think the regulation is good, but in the past 25 years, no government could really regulate the internet. So when they get like hundreds, thousands of, I don't know how many documents leaked out, it's on the dark web still, so you can download it for free. So that's the problem. So we can talk about how to regulate something what is not regulated yet in the 20, 25, 30 years at all. They cannot do that. So I think they can regulate in some way, but for the bad people, what you mentioned, and I 100% agree, you cannot do it. The unfriendly AI type of things, the bad AI, I would say, will come more or less, but if it doesn't have access to any kind of governmental system or electricity system or whatever system, it's not a real threat. Of course, it's a threat because it's doing something wrong. It's manipulating you. It's trying to steal your money. It's trying to do some AI-based viruses. We haven't seen them yet. I think that's an interesting topic, what we haven't discovered yet, or at least me. But maybe Arthur has some experience about that too, because he's the specialist in that area. But it's very interesting, I think. So government cannot really regulate, can do some law or something, but it doesn't have the transparency, I think. Or not much.
Maybe I would bring one other viewpoint, like we are talking about the technology, and of course it's very interesting, very important stuff. But where I'm working with a lot of AI experts, and there is what I observe is usually the customers, the users who would like to order AI products, who would like to use AI products. There is a lot of people who underestimate the capability of AI, and there is a lot of people who overestimate it. And and my experience, at least what products we are designing and developing, it's in the middle. So usually it's not solving all the problems what we can solve by humans, and usually so it's somewhere in the middle. And maybe because we are usually talking about ChatGPT and chatbots and AI solutions, which is a little bit looks like humans. This is the focus. Usually, this is a buzzword. This is the topic. What is really visible. But most of the AI products looks like a human. So, and because we see these kind of things, which looks like a human, we a little bit see it like a human, and we are thinking like okay, he is a human, so he has, I don't know, this let's say bad approach or positive approach or something. But in most of the cases, it's not like that. It's more like a tool what we can use, and if we keep the human in the loop, somehow it's a powerful tool, like a computer, like a car, like whatever. So yeah, and maybe other aspects, of course, legal issues is very important, but probably countries will be very slow on this field because it's very complex. But on the other hand, there is the user, the human, who actually use it, and it's always like that. If you have a tool, if you give it to someone to use it, it depends on the person how they will use it. So of course, until we have bad people, probably they will use it for a bad purpose, and vice versa. And maybe the third one, what I would bring in this topic, sorry, Peter, the product design part. So for me as a product designer, what is important in AI products, how it can be useful for the users, for the end users. And this is why how we try to make it useful. And usually my experience that the technology can be solve a lot of things, but without product design, it's usually not useful. And this is why there is a lot of, let's say, end user who is not satisfied with the AI solution in some cases. So we have to be responsible as product design when we design an AI product as well. What is it capable for, where we keep the human in the loop, and so on and so on.
I really like the idea that you, or the fact that I didn't interrupt you when I originally intended to, because I really enjoy the idea of how AI is going to help you in your field of work. So guys, I would love to discuss a little bit, what is that you're planning to do with the AI? What is it that you're really excited about that you will do in your field of work with the AI going forward? And I think going too far into the future is really scary, and we know very little. So I would love to know, what is it that you guys are doing now with AI that you really enjoy? I do pictures that do not exist in the world, like horses in the basement. I really hope that horses are not put into the basement in the real world. So I do use DALL-E for that. But what is it that you use AI for? What are you going to use it in the next couple of weeks or months?
Let me start again with the answers. I started the introduction of myself anyway from the team. So let me continue with this line. So first of all, I already use let's speak about the personal part of that. So first of all, I use it for creating communication material. So as I told you, it can make better marketing text or copywriting text than I could ever do that. And not only in English, which is not my mother tongue, but also in Hungarian. So I have to say that I many times do that. Okay, I write a kind of an email, I put it there and say, okay, let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's make it shorter, and it makes perfect reviews. So it's already something which is happening with this. The other thing which I do is that sometimes I get long emails which I don't want to spend time on. So I put the emails also there and I say that, okay, summarize it for me. What is the important part of that, or what is in my interest? And I think this is also a kind of communication that is now evolving, that sometimes people write some basic ideas, make a long email with a GPT and then send it as an email, and then the other party will read or copy the content to GPT and make it some summary of it. So it's also a funny thing that this might be a part on one hand. On the other hand, the image generation that you mentioned, actually, we just renovated the home of my daughter, and we started to make AI-generated pictures to her home, because they look so amazing that she said, okay, I would like to have them on the wall all around the house. So it's also a point for the personal use. From professional point of view, let me bring some examples that I think we will use and we are also using already, besides the marketing part. So in one of our companies, we create a technology which helps you to gather the building outlines, so an operational building documentation containing floor plans, 3D, all the assets, chairs, desks, everything in the building. This is partly manual work which cannot be replaced by AI because we have to stick barcodes, unique identifiers on many of the assets. But in other parts, AI can easily be used on one hand to analyze the quality of data and send back the guys that there should be a missing column because there are many columns on the other floors, but here it should be missing somehow. On the other hand, we create lots of data. And you know, when there is data and there is an AI, then you can start to research it. And you can find out relations between this data, which normally you wouldn't expect and you wouldn't find easily. So in my opinion, we should rely on using the AI to process this kind of data and to try to find those relationships that we would not be able to find in person or by personally. So that's the basic point. And I could speak a lot about how do I see the future of AI. I don't want to steal the time from the others, but in my opinion, there is a huge opportunity with that, and we must use it, again, in a controlled way. But as a servant, let's say digital servant, it's a great opportunity for not only for us, but maybe for our clients, actually. Let me switch to other word. So.
Yeah, Arthur was actually talking about the voice emulation. Is it what it's called when you have an AI pretending to be someone else?
Voice cloning, more
voice
like
cloning.
That's the similar thing to deep fake somewhat, but it's not entirely the same thing because you can actually clone your voice for your personal or business reasons, and obviously it's illegal. Also, you can make deep fakes or avatars of yourselves, which would have a lot of good implications. So I think, yeah, you can.
Are you now an avatar of you, or are you a real person now?
Well, actually, that's an interesting question. I haven't really brought that into the conversation because it leads really, really far away from the topic or the center of our conversation. But basically, whether I need to announce that to you or not is still a question. So let's just
sorry, excuse me. It may or may not be a question, but actually, I noticed with Dolly, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But whenever I ask it to, or prompt it, I should say, whenever I prompt it to generate an image including a human, something seems to be screwed up with the eyes. Do you think that's part of trying to make sure that everybody knows that it's a generated image as opposed to a photo? Or is it just not working properly?
I use Midjourney and there is no problem with that already.
Exactly. That's what I was able to say. The early days of GANs, the generative adversarial networks, that was an issue. So like this person does not exist.com cannot really create a person with proper eyes. They're always a bit off. But now I think Stable Diffusion is getting much better with every version, and eyes are not problems anymore. Also, no 9 fingers or 10 fingers anymore.
Yeah, the eyes and the hands.
Now the teeth are already fine as well.
Yeah, so it's fixed, and it's gonna be just better and better every month, every week. So that's why I believe, and this is my area of research at the moment, and that's what I'm doing with AI, or will do with AI, is researching the authenticity and provenance of things, because this is basically the biggest problem, how you could prove that you're authentic. And I believe that in the future, or maybe even now, we cannot really prove that something is fake. We can only prove that something is authentic and licensed and certified. So this is the way I'm looking at. And there's one more thing I'd like to add, because I mentioned my title, Cybersecret Futurist, and it's coming from my work back in 2015, 16. I authored a book called The Imperfect Secret, and I was trying to figure out why security is not really working, especially from the perspective of secrets. Because if you think about it, we are working with data, we're working with content and information and that kind of thing, and the humans are not thinking about that. They think in context, and that's the trick here. So people don't have personal data. They don't think oh, I need to protect my personal data. It's not, maybe legislation thinks, or people, or I don't know, politicians or lawyers think that people got personal data, but they don't have personal data. They have secrets, and secrets are more complicated. And what I sort of envisioned back in 2015 and 16, that the only way we could analyze data from that perspective and see the context of the information and protect its privacy aware, context aware, is only possible through AI. So that is my area of research at the moment. And since these multi-model language models even are really good in that, they can even realize or even understand the context in a picture, not just in text. And they also can deal with theory of the mind, meaning that they can place themselves into different roles of a story, into the place of different people. So in a way, they have some sort of empathy or simulation of empathy. I'm not talking about conscious before we go into that. So they can actually emulate some sort of empathy. And I think that is what we need in order to understand sentences like, okay, I tell you this, but please don't tell anybody, this is our secret. Computers didn't understand that. And that is basically the biggest problem in cybersecurity. So I hope that with AI, we will be able to protect information the way people handle information and not the way computers handle information.
Okay, I think you have a relatively safe future, because keeping us safe and keeping us secure is going to be more difficult than ever before. I think we all agree on that. But do you guys see any other roles for humans in a much more AI infested or AI driven or AI supported or AI-ish word? I mean, plumber came up. I think plumber is a good job. AI for a while won't be able to get the problem actually solved, may have ideas, may have suggestions, but won't solve it. But I don't know how many of you would like to make the same amount of money as you make now, but become a plumber. I wouldn't, I know. So that's a challenge.
I think plumbers earn quite well.
Still, I would need to be significantly be making more to become a plumber, to be honest with you. But maybe I'm a lazy person. Maybe that's the future of humanity. But I also have a friend who works for Apple, and what he does, he compares what he hears to what he sees written down, and he needs to sign whenever it's wrong. I'm quite sure he's feeding an AI solution in the background. I have seen trainings online on how to prompt ChatGPT or whatever AI better. So maybe AI prompter is a profession that someone is going
sold
to.
by AI. Sorry, I need to say that it's already sold by AI. It's funny. I've just read an interesting research about that. How prompt engineering, which is supposed to instruct AI, will be replaced by AI. It's already replaced by AI because when you make a prompt, some of the tricks these new models are doing is that they just get the prompt and they already interface it into the same AI you're asking your question from. So the prompt you're getting back, or the actual question you are feeding to the AI through the interface, is not exactly the prompt that you're saying. So it's kind of like a safeguard. So prompt engineering is already done by AI even before it got born.
I think to me, the prompting thing got really wide, or maybe just me, whenever AI is prompted to prompt you to prompt it. So the following, you ask AI to do something like, sorry, I'm a marketeer, so my examples are going to be from marketing. You ask AI to develop a plan for something. Then I thought that you needed to be smart enough to know what to share with the AI to figure out how to do a good planning. But right now I started seeing prompts that actually said, I have this problem, but before you solve it, please ask me questions in order for you to have the right information, so I can give you the right input to find the right solution, which is, I mean, if I was doing this to Excel, which is not AI, but is a software that I don't fully understand, then circular reference warning would be up on my screen, but it's not with AI. All right, so can we as a group come up with roles in an AI-heavy future, besides figuring the scariness of AI, or managing the scariness?
First of all, my view of the future from this perspective is that there will be much less to work. Actually, it will not be that necessary to work as much as now. Yeah, and we will have more time for our family, for our children, for playing with chess with the friends. I don't know, for drinking in the bar. So it's independent, but so there will be much more time, and this is also an interesting question that which also OpenAI is trying to solve with a universal basic income kind of thing. So it's already not only my idea; it's obviously a basic thing that the AI knower people already start to work on. So from my point of view, we humans need to compare ourselves to each other. So we will need to find something. So probably the sports, so probably the I don't know, painting or composing music might be something we can compare each other to each other. Still, AI will be better, in my opinion. So after a while, the AI will do better than people in this as well. But at least we will find a very comfortable and convenient way of living in long term. Our position might, in my opinion, will be very different from what we do today. So for example, a person like me, who is a typical problem finder and problem solver, so I feel only myself good if there are problems that can be solved somehow. This kind of people, this kind of way of thinking will be required also in the future. Solving the problem itself will not be probably my role anymore. Today, it's my role. Today, it's my role to define the problem, the solution, to find developers, or to find anything that can solve the problem. That will not be needed anymore. But to find out that there is a problem that needs to be solved, I think that it will be required. So from my point of view, I see a future for myself.
Sándor, what do you think?
I think, just so I feel like it appears that we have solved the language issue when it comes to AI. So now AI is so conversational, it speaks better English and better Hungarian than we do. And I get the feeling that we seem to underestimate the additional value of people. Like if I put a prompt into ChatGPT, it might give me good ideas, but it doesn't solve the issue that I'm having. And I feel there is still going to be and it's maybe marginal, but humans add a lot of value when it comes to context, for example. So yeah, ChatGPT can summarize a lot of text, but it wasn't necessarily there on the meeting where I was there, and it doesn't necessarily know the person that I know wants to hear, and I cannot just feed everything into it. So I think I'm sort of certain that there's going to be lots of jobs that are going to be disappearing as a whole, but I feel that most of the white collar work that we're doing are going to be assisted by AI and not replaced. And I feel there's going to be a lot more jobs that are going to be coming our way than the jobs that are taken away when it comes to teaching the AI, making them AI robots and whatever, making them even better, communicating with humans. So I'm absolutely not scared that our roles as humans are going to be disappearing in the next 20 to 30 years.
Maybe one idea or one thought, sorry, Szilárd, to what Adam mentioned. So it's what I see in the, let's say, AI product designs around me is the big question is always ask the right question. So this is the question. After that, to find a solution to write the right code, it's usually possible. It's usually not a problem. But to find what is the real problem, that's very important, and even it's a challenge for humans. So even it's very difficult to find okay, what information is really useful for the human, what is really improve the user experience, because we can see a lot of digital products around us what is not really useful for humans. This is why nobody uses it. This is why there is thousands of applications what nobody use. Actually, it's working. It's developed very well. The code is working, running, but nobody uses it. So I think it's a big challenge to use AI in that way as it's useful for a lot of human. And of course, in the business life, it's already used very often. But in the everyday life, I think there is even a lot of room for improvement because. Just my example, I have a lot of conversation with Siri, and we don't agree quite often because sometimes it's quite dumb. So for me, it's not always useful, when I use Siri. But actually, for example, ChatGPT quite useful for me to do a research and collecting information from the internet for a product design process. But yeah, that's only one step.
It's funny because I feel that the B2C applications are quite useful, but I feel when it comes to enterprise grade use, I mean, the stuff is not, if we talk about generative AI, I mean, AI is a broad topic, but generative AI for enterprise use, I feel it's not there yet. So it gives you good ideas, but you cannot just plug and play.
Sometimes stuff, guys, that
B2C, you can.
We always talk about like to ChatGPT, but that's what we talked about before behind the scenes. AI is not ChatGPT. So for everyday people, and I think many people here on the call from the software engineering, we all know NumPy and TensorFlow is the AI. So nothing to do really with ChatGPT. And ChatGPT uses those libraries as well, and the modified libraries and some of their own libraries to build this AI, generative AI type of thing. So when we talk with enterprise and B2B, definitely we're not using ChatGPT. First of all, because we try to keep the privacy of the clients. Of course, we can use for some kind of decision making, and I think for our role as well, where we can really help for the sales, of course, that's the generative AI, and for decision making to acquire more information and get summarized and help our decision making. That's what Adam said as well. I think it's very useful, but it's not replacing us. Like, just think about that. When COVID came and everyone jumped on Teams, like some people talk to me that, hey, I don't want to talk over Teams. Come over. But he knew me before that. So he know my in person, but he still wants to see me in person in his office during COVID.
Szilárd, I agree. I think there is a significant difference whenever we compare AI to some other stuff like meeting in person or not meeting in person, or having a steam engine or not having a steam engine. There are a few differences. One is that we don't fully understand how AI works, and we sort of need to accept that in order to let it grow. And the second, that it's capable of developing, and it develops as we speak or as we stay silent. So it always develops. So whenever we say that that AI is not capable of certain things, I always try to finish that sentence and figure out whether yet is there at the end. Because I think whenever you say like enterprise-ready solutions are not available by AI yet.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
sorry, I even have to disagree with that sentence. I know I don't want to open Pandora's box here. I know, because it's like a minefield when we're talking about like what B2B is going to use and all that. But there's one thing I'd like to add. In the last, let's say, 2 months, there are significant players in the market that are including LLM, large language models, and as interfaces inside their narrow AI applications, even for military use, for God's sake. It seems that this unexpected thing that you just mentioned, Szilárd, a few minutes ago, this unexpected thing that we have gotten from the language models seem to work as some sort of interface, some sort of middleware between narrow AI applications, even inside a full ecosystem for B2B. NVIDIA has introduced a system like that in their what is called, like not NVIDIA verse, something verse, and everything is a verse now, either Meta or something. So so they are doing that, and it seems that strangely nobody really expected that, as you just said, that LLM models can actually figure things out, like interfacing between different other AI applications. So I completely agree with that statement that we should never really say that AI will never. And the other thing I would like to add is that humans will always. That's the other thing I don't really want to say nowadays.
Yeah, and my reaction to Peter, that just one sentence, is just think about that he said that it's always developing, even when we speak, even when we don't. What I was thinking, that people so happy that they can talk to ChatGPT, and that's so funny, and talk to other plugins but using ChatGPT. But think about that, how OpenAI is so happy that people talking to their AI and getting so many freaking data, even corporate data, because when you copy paste something into it to summarize your email, that's probably have some corporate information, and he's learning from it, It's just the data when it comes in. It's not even learning immediately, but obviously it can learn from the future because it's stored somewhere, obviously. So it's very, very funny. I think it's OpenAI is the winner for that, for now, at least, to build a huge database, a huge data set.
Absolutely. And I think what we also do is whenever we humans interact, we do the same thing. So I'm learning. I'm not sure if you are learning, but I definitely am. And what I learned and really enjoyed from Adam was the problem. I think we have some sort of a feeling on what's happening with AI. We don't know. We cannot follow. And I really like that statement. We have a feeling on what's going to happen. And there is a beautiful future when no one really has to work. And we all drink margaritas or whatever your favorite poison is and stay on the beach, and someone takes care of the kids. A human, not an AI. I wouldn't let it. That's strange. That's strange when you think about it. But I really like the idea of us needing to become either artists, because art is our privilege. I don't think art. I know that an AI can paint, but it's not going to have the same heart and soul. And I don't care what you think on this particular thing. I don't care.
Did you just say that you would never say things like AI will never do these kind of things? You just said,
did, but having a heart and soul and having meaningful art is not possible by an AI. And I don't want to.
Why wouldn't it be possible? AI just consume. We just. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. If you don't care, that's fine. It's a human thing. If you don't care, then I stop talking.
I never thought I had a religious belief, but I think this is one. So this is not what I'm saying. Everything is up for discussion. Art is not. And I don't.
Maybe I do some paintings and drawing, this kind of stuff, and I think it's a little bit like a tool as well. Like when you use Photoshop, actually that's also can be art. Just you don't use the paintings, the physical one, but the brush in the Photoshop. But in this case, it can be also an art. Just a question like how you can manipulate it, or how much is what you want to do, and how much is what is the let's say the automation or the code or whatever.
Yeah. So what I really enjoyed and where I wanted to go before we got lost in the whole art thing is that Adam actually came up with the idea of us becoming instead of problem solvers, us becoming problem finders really felt like a tangible next step for those of us who don't want to become. I'm really bad with art, and I don't want to be a plumber. So problem finder is an exciting profession. Do you think that's a relevant thing? Do you think we need to be problem finders? Like, what should we let humanity do if we don't have to work anymore? That's a real problem.
Actually, I absolutely agree with you. That's why I told it. So, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'd like to add something here. I prefer to think of humans in the future as some sort of coexisting race with technology. It's more like a transhumanist way of looking at things, because I think you because if you're using a tool, you become one with the tool. So it's not like, it's a classical philosophical thing. It's been proven that when someone grabs a weapon, they think of the weapon not as a tool, but as their extended self. That's why, when you hold a gun, you're becoming a gunman. You're not a person. Sorry, gun folks. We're being inclusive here, so it could be anything. So when you do that, you become one with the tool, and I think that is exactly what's going to happen to people. So you will not think of a human as a human, but a human and a tool. And I think the biggest challenge is going to be like, how are we going to differentiate, if we want to, between like people. Let's say you want to hire someone, or you're talking to someone, and you will have to ask yourself a question like who you're talking to. Szilárd mentioned that CV that was written by AI. Now, what if the person you're talking to is, 30% AI, or the answers are 30% AI? And would that matter really in the future? Maybe it doesn't matter if that is something, if the person can solve a problem, if the person can raise a problem by using AI as, a tool that they're using, what's the problem with that? Then maybe it's a
hybrid.
Human 2.0. Yeah. It's a hybrid or something like that. I don't know.
I was thinking when you were saying that, I was thinking about whenever I send out the CV. Hasn't happened lately. I'm happy with my job. But whenever I sent out CVs, I always designed it. I always had it typed, and it always had some sort of a design. And I'm thinking whether it's okay to do that, or is that already altering what I can do? Because my handwriting definitely looks worse, and it wouldn't be as well structured and as nice looking, etc. So we are already using in our everyday work extensions to ourselves, and the way you explained it, I think, yeah, we are doing that, and not only with guns, with all sorts of other tools and technology. Actually,
it's something like the question of handmade things. So now people are measuring handmade things much better than the non-handmade things, even though the machine-made things are very symmetrical, very precise, etc. Still, we love the handmade things. I think it's the same thing what you mentioned now with this. So we can get perfect things from the AI. Probably some people will look for handmade things again in this situation.
Yeah, Balin, do you have anything to add at this point?
Well, maybe one question to you, like 3D printing was quite a fancy word a few years ago. Like everybody was talking about it. You can 3D print everything what you want, and it's such a wonderful thing. And of course, I think as a product designer, it's a wonderful thing. I actually have a 3D printer next to me, but probably most of the product designer use it, but the everyday people, let's say average people, do you 3D print quite often something? I don't know what you want, what is missing from your home, or what I don't know equipment you need. I think not too much people, and even if you do it for something what you already have, not too much people create something new with it. Like something what not existed already. So maybe that creativity what human can add is still needed, and asking the right questions. Okay,
I think
innovation?
I think a major difference between AI and 3D printing is the accessibility. I think buying a 3D printer and having the material that you print with, etc., is much more of a challenge than having AI at your fingertip in all sorts of applications. So I think that's a major game
it's not
changer.
the same, but for $300 euro you can get one, so it's not super.
I think it's more about the use cases. I mean, there's not many people would want to print something 3D because you don't really need it, right? But AI you need. You cannot work, you cannot live anymore without AI. So that's why the impact is just so much greater.
Yeah. So we have received several questions from our viewers.
Believable. Do they have questions? And
actually, they have questions, and most of their questions are related to security and safety and how we can make the AI driven or AI coexisting world safer. And one of the specific solutions suggested was having an AI that actually controls AI.
Sure.
Do you think that's a possibility?
It's not just a possibility, it's already being done. So in many different ways. One one interesting company, it's actually a group that got the executives and researchers from OpenAI, and what they do is that they try to create an interesting norm system, a norm governing system for AI, which would work in a way that you would ask the model itself questions before the answer is generated. And interestingly, even with GPT, it's possible that if you just throw back the same answer to the model and ask them to rethink it, from a different perspective, they would realize that they shouldn't have suggested something. So it's interesting that the model itself has this kind of knowledge. You just need to find a way to trigger that sort of defensive mechanism inside it. That's why it is pretty troubling to say whether it's conscious, not, whatever, I'm not going into that. But the reason why even Microsoft researchers, I think the study I was referring to, the title was Sparks of Early Signs of Generative AI, Artificial General Intelligence. That was the original, that was the title of the study, but the original title was something different. They even mentioned, consciousness in that. So what I'm trying to say here is that LLM models are really good and capable of that, and they can even defend an AI system. You just need to learn a way how to interface the AI with itself. And another interesting aspect, which is being done, is that they're trying, even in OpenAI, they're trying to teach, and Google, they're trying to teach their AI through the training process some sort of guidelines. Some even suggest that maybe the Dalai Lama's, teachings should be programmed or trained through all of these systems to the AI, so that we would have a sort of like a governing system. And let me raise just one problem with that, which is basically the biggest problem. I think it's one of the dimensions we haven't really touched, is the immense amount of norm systems that we have in the world. And it maybe for some people it's the Dalai Lama, for some people it's completely else. It's something else.
Absolutely. And I think, for example, whether it's okay to interrupt someone while he's speaking or not is okay. That could be a norm question, right? I think I really enjoyed what you were saying, but I'm not sure if you were answering the question of one AI controlling another AI. What I seem to have been hearing is having controlling mechanisms within the given AI.
Oh, I was talking about, because AI can actually control AI but whether you are feeding the answer back to the same AI system, that's what I was referring to, doesn't matter. So the AI even can control itself using AI as a retainer. That's what I was trying to say. But you can also train another AI for that, and there's even an interesting idea, a proposition that maybe certifying this question was even raised during the Senate hearing day before yesterday, that maybe certifying some kind of governing the AI that would sort of listen to the other AI and train it and pull it through different questions and testing, and that then would give a license to the AI for operating. That would be an interesting idea, but that thing is not built yet. And I just want to refer back to Szilárd that we are already late with that. Even if we start doing it now, it will be probably months, years, whatever, until this thing can work.
There's no one
controlling problem. Sorry. So we are speaking about again how we can control AI. So on one hand, in my opinion, yes, we will need such kind of AI who is our friend, and I would call it this way, who is our friend. and we cannot control. I think, or we will not be able to control after a while AI, in my opinion. And that's why I say that we should be in friendship with them. And we will need that kind of friendly AI who can control those AIs who are out of control, made by other, not always possibly positive people. Sorry.
There needs to be there needs to be many layers onto how we control AI, and AI might be one of them, but it cannot be the only one, because I mean, if the question arises, how do we control AI? AI cannot be the answer to that, because there can always be someone that gets to the AI that is controlling the AI. So we need to find different ways to do it. I mean, I think the concept is that you need to give the types of objectives to the AI so that its main objective doesn't become killing people. And that's the thing we need to solve. So it's about giving the right objective with the right norms, as Arthur said, and that's where I think currently science is stuck. How do we even select what the right norms are by which we want AIs to behave, and are the norms the same in every context, and can they change? And these are the things that are not solved yet. But and now it's a belief question. Do I believe they're going to be solved? Yes, I do think so.
The reason I really liked the idea of AI controlling AI, and I may be totally off base with that, is that I don't think that we as humanity can control every AI, but we may be able to control one and give power to that particular
but what
AI
happens
to
if
control the
terrorists
others.
get to that AI?
I think
it's not control, guys. Like it's not control. It's I think it's simply moderating an AI, but it's for B2B. So all the businesses, or B2C, who are talking to customers, they want to get like a monitoring and some kind of filtering of the AI. Because okay, you use ChatGPT, and what if ChatGPT gets rude to your customer? Who controlling? You cannot control. You're not hiring 100,000 people to control all the conversations going on with AI. So you need a second AI. I'm not saying it's a little bit maybe the same what Arthur says. I haven't read the study, but it's really you calling another AI to validate the answer from the original AI. And I think it's a demand. I'm not sure if it's available right now. I can download it. I can include it into my systems. But I think it's not even controlling. You want to monitor. You want to know what the AI answer to your customer or to your client. Because if you don't know, and if it's something goes wrong, what you say to your client, what you say to your customer.
This is maybe, sorry, just one sentence, like this is like trustable AI, you know, like this is very important when we design an AI product, how user can trust in it and how you can achieve that. It's trustable. So as we usually say, it's a black box, but in other viewpoints, somehow you have to show what is the base of the decision of AI, or what is the result of the AI, or what can see the AI around your car, for example, can it see the other car or not, what you can see. So this is a quite big topic, but yeah, sorry.
Okay, guys, 2 more questions and then we need to finish, because we are already 14 minutes over and we can go 14 hours over. We do need to break at a certain time, for if not for anything else, then for eating and sleeping. 2 more questions. So one is from András, who is actually saying that why is problem finding a different issue? Isn't it exactly the thing AI could be good at with analyzing data? And I was afraid of that question because I think András is right. So I really loved, Adam, the idea that problem finding can be ours and cannot be taken away, but actually probably it can. And then all we have is art, and that cannot be, and that's a religious thing, and I'm not debating that again. I don't care what you think.
Let me tell you some examples. So sometimes I get hungry. I don't think that AI gets hungry. So there are some things that I meet in my life that I hate, that this is dark, this area of the room. So I will need some kind of lighting. And that's a personal experience. And that's why I say that finding problems and then asking for a solution, okay, then half of the room is dark, please solve it. Okay, then bring some light there. Okay, that's a solution. But finding out that it's dark, that I'm hungry, it's something which I think will be required also in the future, because people will always struggle from something that has to be solved. I am too big, or I've got lots of problems. So this means that problem finding will always be a crucial point, in my opinion, because we are somehow the interface between the real world and the brain inside my head. So that's why I say problem finding will be required.
Okay. The last question I would like to ask, sorry, I hate doing this, but the last question, and I really want to ask this because it talks about now and it doesn't talk about the future. That someone raised that there are certain companies where the AI usage is restricted. You're not allowed to use AI, for example, ChatGPT, which I know is not all AI, but it's definitely one that's easily accessible. What do you think the current mode of operation should be for companies? Should they be allowed to use AI or shouldn't they?
To use or die, you have to. Like I think there cannot be a question, because if you don't use it, there's going to be someone else that is going to use it and surpass you. So I was listening to a podcast before and they were discussing, well, if AI can replace people and 2 people can do the job that before 10 people used to do, will the company be able to charge the same 10 people's hourly wages? And the answer is no, because there's always going to be someone that is going to be willing to do it for 2 hours worth of work. So you cannot, as a company, you cannot decide not to use AI.
I think the question is blurry. So the question is talking about that who should use AI, who should not. Obviously, the default answer, nobody should use AI per se, ChatGPT, for the corporate reasons. So you go to financial services and I ask to analyze your data, your bank account from ChatGPT. Do you want it? Of course you don't. So the question is more, I think, ChatGPT than AI. Of course, we should use all the AI open source libraries in-house, but not asking the ChatGPT. So my employees or your employees or whoever asking about your financial statements or your corporate decisions, do you want that to Microsoft processes? Of course you don't. Like the rules are so old. Don't post code on Facebook. Don't post code on Facebook because it's illegal. And most of the companies had this privacy code. So I think the question is more everyone talking AI as ChatGPT, but using AI, what Sándor mentions, it's my AI type of work where we put different libraries into work for a company. And that's necessary. We shouldn't, stay behind the competition. So we need AI 100%, but we need ChatGPT for certain areas. I think no. Maybe for salespeople, yes. Maybe for certain people, yes. But it's so many data privacy questions. I think what you should think about if I should put out Deutsche Telekom type of data out to ChatGPT, and maybe somewhere Microsoft is competing with it or something, and who knows? So we should really, really carefully read the whole privacy policy, maybe have certain subscription-based model for ChatGPT where they keep this privacy in a different level. Of course, then you can use ChatGPT as well. But I think they're not talking about regular libraries in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. We need to stop. At a certain time, we need to stop. I do apologize, and honestly, I would love to go on, but we are 20 minutes over. I would like to thank you so much for being with us. Thank you very much, Adam and Artur and Bálint and Sándor and Szilárd for me fun discussion, and I really hope that to all of those of you who tuned in to listen in on this roundtable talk by Deutsche Telekom IT Solutions also enjoyed it. Thank you so much for that. And thank you to all of those who asked questions online, and I apologize to those who we couldn't include into the talk. It was a lively discussion and I didn't manage to get all the content in that I originally intended, so probably we will need to continue this. Thank you, have a fantastic day and take care.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much for
See you
the
soon.
good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.